Well, Big Joe, let's welcome in to the program now Chase Rome, defensive tackle for Nebraska and Memphis over the last couple of years. Chase is with us in studio this morning. He still has an extra year of eligibility. However, he's going to forego that extra season at Memphis. Chase, good morning, man. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Man, great to have you here.
Good to be here.
Did you watch the national championship, by the way?
I did. I was kind of in and out of the room, but it was probably the most exciting one in recent memory, at least. I remember being bored to death by the last few, and I was glad to see them finally get after it a little bit.
Well, nice. And Big Joe brought up the topic of Mark Emmert a little bit earlier. I want to get your thoughts, because we look around, the Northwestern football team starts to form the Union there, in the Midwest. You're a Midwest guy for a bit there in Nebraska. But what do you think about the Union, and what are your thoughts on Emmert and the NCAA?
I think first off, I'm glad the Northwestern guys took charge on that. They're the brains of the Big Ten and have been for a long time. I think that the players do need a voice, and I think for the people that are outside of college football, they don't realize how much they have their thumb down on everything and how little say you really do have in a lot of what goes on. So I'm excited to see them take charge, and I think that there's a lot of bright kids that really don't have their voice heard in the whole system. And like any large governing agency, there's flaws that need to be fixed, and I think having gone through that, they're on the right track.
Shabazz Napier he's drawn a little criticism this morning about having the I guess he had said earlier, we slammed the NCAA, but he had said earlier that he I guess went to bed hungry before. And I mean, you must have known. You're freshly removed from college. I mean, you must have known guys at Nebraska, at Memphis, where they're grown kids. I mean, when I was playing ball, you burn so many calories over the day. I mean, you get your meal at the dining hall at 6 o'clock, and then you're still up studying at like 10, and you're starving because you got those metabolisms. I mean, did you ever see anything like that where your buddies were starving, didn't have money to eat?
Yeah, I had a lot of cases of that. During camp and during fall camp and spring ball and things like that, it's a little bit easier because they always had the meals there for you. And at Nebraska and Memphis, they always took good care of us, making sure we had the food to go home. What's tough is for a lot of the guys in the summer, when you're up there taking maybe one class, and then you got the whole rest of the day where you're on the same amount of money and a lot less food provided for you. We had a couple kids on the team that would say and joke about, but they weren't really joking. Drinking enough water until they weren't starving anymore, and then going to sleep. And it's a shame, and your teammates tend to help those guys out when they can, and bring them over for a breakfast, or we'd all chip in for a barbecue, kind of things like that. And we found ways through it. And but yeah, there's definitely kids that aren't as fortunate as I was to have some help from home and some money come from home.
Yeah.
And I would have been struggling without it. So
I actually was fortunate too when I was at school, because my parents were able to send me something, but I knew tons of guys, and this was just. It was just Division III football, man, and like still, same rules apply, and it was just crazy. I mean, and especially during, like you said, the kind of the off times when football players are a lot of times the only people on campus. We had 3-a-days. I mean, mostly film sessions at night and stuff, but I mean. Man, 3 practices a day. You're just at football all day. Like I said, you eat at 6 o'clock. It's just crazy. And I mean, I'd really like to see it change. I mean, what do you envision a scenario where they're going to be making hundreds of thousands of dollars as college players? I mean, what do you think is going to happen with the landscape of this?
I think when people hear about college football players wanting to get paid, they automatically associate what they know with football and the NFL lockout, things like that, and they're assuming that that's what the college football players want, when really I think if they saw the prevalence of the kids that don't have food a lot of the time, they'd understand that I think a lot of kids would be happy with just enough to get by, just enough for the extra meal, just enough for some gas around.